Hello, 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 hello. Wherever you are on this thought provoking planet called Earth, I hope you are having a hopeful day, evening, or night, wherever you happen to be located. Welcome to my 3D 3D software program channel. In this case, it's about Blender, but I'm sure the technique that I'm using can be used in any of them. Maya, Houdini, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max, on and on and on. You're probably going to be using all of them because they probably have their variation of what I'm going to do. So let me start. I'm going to tell you. Now you see I have an explosion scene. I'm not going to make an explosion because Blender is 1,000 videos on Blender about making an explosion. But I discovered one little thing about those scenes with that explosion. In real life, the real world, when there's an explosion, like right here, debris is flying. Debris. Now on every Blender or other 3D package explosion, it looks nice, like here, it looks smoky. But you know, with that initial explosion, stuff come flying out. Then, after the stuff came flying out, then the fire is there. So so I guess that's what the Blender and other 3D package explosion scenes dealing with. They dealing with the after effect when that initial blast. And I'm gonna give you an example. Now I'm just using crude objects. I'm not using them fancy. I'm just gonna show you objects flying out of my explosion. Here we go. I'm gonna hit G, X, Zap. You see, I have projectiles rushing forward. Now you know realistically they would come. If it was real, they'd be super fast. GX, they'd be coming out like that, and it blur. But you remember, since it's 3DS software, you know we like to do things in slow motion. So so the explosion probably slow down time, and you probably see the door, the car door, flipping out. A car seat. Now you see, I just use little cubes here. In real life, it probably pieces of metal flying out at you, pieces of the car seat. But you remember, I never saw the other 3D package talking about that. The after effects immediately after the explosion. I know a couple seconds later, like 1 or 2 seconds later, it is burning up. That's what Blender and all the other software showing. They showing the after effects after that boom. When you hear that boom, that's when this stuff come flying out. And that's my topic for today. How to make those projectiles come out. And then you see, how can I make a projectile come out to give my scene a pizzazz? Now I said I just used a simple cube on here, but I did use different colors. You can use a car door, metal shards, pieces of rocks flying out of the explosion. Like I said, I have not seen that. Something flying out an explosion. In real life, when they say boom, something flying out. If the explosion don't kill you, I don't want it to happen to you. I don't want them to happen to no person. But if the explosion doesn't injure you, the projectiles will. And I'm sure those projectiles, they coming at nearly the speed of sound or even better. Like I said, they coming out fast. Like I said, on a 3D, we want to slow it down to give it more cinematic effect. So let me show you how to do this. We have to use something called constraints. So let me turn off my little scenes. Let me get rid of this. Oh, I can still use. Well, hold up, wait a minute. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna still use those same colored bricks, but I can delete my constraints right now. I deleted for this. I'm deleted for that, so I don't have to recreate nothing over again. Delete it here. Delete this one. Delete that. And delete that. Alright, so good. And I want to put for me, I like to. You can put any object there, but in the 3D world, we like to use those empties because the empty. You didn't. When I made that little scene with the explosion, you didn't see the empty. But of course, you could have used any object because, like, I can hide the object and behind You know, the initial explosion. So it don't. But I just like to use the empty. I'm gonna add an empty. I use the favorite ones called plain axis. All right. So now, what I want to do now is try to position each of my little objects near. I'm gonna go to top view. I want to try to position my objects near here, near each of those little corners. And then I forgot to tell you too, like when I made that explosion, you can rotate your objects coming out, because I didn't show the rotation because yeah, I didn't use keyframes, but I did that earlier. The objects just don't gotta come out looking like straight or linear. You can have them rotating. I want to put this here and put this here. Oh, let me see. I can bring things up a little bit. Right there. I can bring this up a little bit. Tilt it over. It don't have to be perfect. Up. Okay, so now, so good. I want to make sure I delete all my constraints. Let me go and check. I don't want to have no constraints on any of them. Alright, good. Now the constraint that you have to use is called, we go down here because I know constraints not used that much in Blender. Well, it's not a whole lot of discussion on the constraints, but they are powerful. I want to come down here to the third one from the bottom. It looks like a gear going around a larger blue circle than a smaller one. It's called object constraint properties. So explicit object constraint properties. I click on add. I'm going to choose the one called copy location. And I have my, well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to use the black first, because that's I'm going to do these first because they're easy. The ones, the black, the purple, and green, they simpler first, so I deal with them. So I'm clicking on my constraint properties. Click on constraint. I choose copy location. For now for you, when you get better at it, you can use Y, X, and Z. For me, I just like to stay with X. Stay with X. Then I want to put it on invert. And then I want to have my target as my, what empty is this? Okay. I'm going to call it main empty. Main empty. Alright, so I call that main empty. Now I'm going to click back on my black. I'm going to have my target as the main empty. Right there. But see, it moved. So it's best to click on offset and it puts it right back. Now let me click on my empty and let's see what happened. See, it's moving with it, but you don't want that. Because if you have a now with the empty, I can leave it like that. But if I have an actual physical object, I don't want the physical object to appear in my explosion. I don't. So I click back on my black cube. I click on right. I have to click on X and I just choose invert. Hit invert X and let's see what happened. I move X to the left and you see the object going to the right. That's how I made that explosion scene. I kept using invert. Invert. But I'm going to work with the other ones. And that was on the X axis. Let me see if it's showing. I want to put the other one on Y axis. Yeah, I want to have my Y. So my Y showing. My X and Y showing. Alright, so I'm going to click on my green. Now I want to click on object. Copy location. Now this on my Y. I take it off of X and Z. Leave it on X axis for Y. I want to put it on invert. And I want to preserve my offset. Oh, and the most important thing, you got to choose your target too. My target is my main empty. So it should work now. Let's see what happened. Now, click on my empty. Now, since I got it on X and Y, I cannot move my empty on X and Y. I got to move it in like a different direction, a combination of X, Y, Z. I want to move it like that. See, now they both moving. See, I'm moving my empty diagonal and they both moving. All right, so good. That's that. Now I discovered. I want to come over here to my purple. I just want to put the constraint back on. Copy location. I discovered I cannot. If I do the invert here, it may be sort of different. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna say, take it off X, take it off Z, just put it on Y, put it on offset, and choose main empty. All right, let me move it now. Oops, click on my. See, it's not moving the way I want. It is moving in the opposite direction, but I wanted to push out. It's moving in the opposite direction as my empty, but you know, from an explosion, things get pushed out. Like the black and the green are being pushed out. So I have to click back on my purple. I have to take it off of this, or I have to choose, take your target and make your target, in this case for me, it's green. Then I have to physically move it again, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna click back on my empty, and you see now everything is being pushed out, as if it was an action. See, and I can even bring them in close if I want to, but it's being pushed out. I just gotta know which way to move my diagonal. So that's an explosion effect. Now I'm sorry to say that it seems like the explosion only work on the X, Y, and Z axis only, but if you wanted to, you can add little effects to your to your scene to make the explosion go in a diagonal direction. But the main one is X, Y, and Z. Now I want to come over here. Let me move this one more time to make sure I got. So everything is working. Now I want to come over here to my my 3 right here. Now here's the big part. This is very helpful. I still want to choose the red cube. I want to add my copy location, but like I did with the purple one, I don't want to have the location attached to the target, because it will follow the black box. But let's go over it again so we can see what happened. Main. I want to take off Y, take off Z. I want to have it on invert X. I want to put it on offset. Alright, I'll move it in a little. Now, so everything is working. Click back on my main group. So you see, I have to make the adjustment like I did with the purple one. So I'm going to come back, click on my red. I want to be going in the opposite direction of the black cube. So where's black at? Is black on here? I don't see. Oh, here's black up to the top. And then I have to slightly move it. But when you just see, I'm only moving it to to make it look make it look pretty to the eye. But when you make an explosion, you don't care if the objects move a little bit. You don't care, cause for an explosion, the debris flying everywhere. All right, so let me see how this working now. Click back on my main group, and you see it's being pushed out. Oh, but there. So, but you gotta pull it empty in a certain way to make it go to make that explode, that push out effect. So it's pushed out. Now here is the catcher right here. Here's the beautiful part. I don't have to go and do all that work with these two, because I want them to go in the same direction as the red. I can use parenting now. I can click on the yellow. I can click on the white. Then I want to parent it to the red, and let's see if it works, because you know how things work in real life. When you think it's going to work, it don't. But in my test trials, it did. I'm going to connect it to that. I'm going to click back on my main, and you see the beauty of it. So we can in this lesson, we use multiple skills in Blender. We didn't just use one thing. We use those constraints, copy location, and we use parenting. When you got multiple objects that you want to go in the same direction, you don't have to go through all that trouble to choose copy location for each of them. You could. It would have worked. I just would have had them going. Yeah, I just would have had them do the opposite of the black, but that's more work. It's easy to do the parenting and say, oh, that's it. See, that's my simulated explosion effect for a debris getting ejected from an explosion, like it always does. The first second, debris got kicked out that explosion. Then after that, everything else is just on fire, laying on the ground. So thank you, my good people. Thank you for stopping by to learn how to cause projectiles, which is rare, to come out of that explosion. As you all see, good people, even when I go to work as an educator, I'm still thinking about how to improve myself with Blender in the back of my mind, how to improve myself as a 3D artist. I don't stop. I love to grow. Even though I'm over 30 or 40, I love growing. I love to grow. So I hope you keep that in mind. If you're a new Blender user, don't stop. We all were beginners at one stage with the 3D package. No matter what 3D package we use, we all was beginners. But the only negative about Blender, because when you was a beginner with Mario or 3ds Max, you probably was a beginner in college. You probably had you probably was teaching how to use it in college. For Blender, they don't teach that in college. You gotta use that thing on your own. So, but the main thing, look at YouTube videos such as this, and just keep trying. I'm rooting for you. The Blender's advanced users, they rooting for you, and medium level users, they rooting for you. Even other beginners rooting for you. Our beloved Tom Rosenthal, he's rooting for you, and the advanced 3D artists in every community, Maya, 3ds Max, Cinema Footage, all of them saying become a good 3D artist. So don't stop. Until the next time, Blender family, 3D family, peace.